Hello, my name is Eliot Sumner, and today I'll be talking about my favourite record. My favourite record of all time is Radiohead Kid A, and I think it's the best studio album that they made so far, because I didn't really prepare for this. I mean, I liked how it took a very sudden departure from their first two albums, and that's kind of what I did of recent when I started releasing Eliot Sumner music instead of my previous work. Some of my favourite songs are on this record. I think it's my favourite of all the Radiohead records because they started this new sound, which at the time was like the weirdest sounding album that was being played on radio at the time, and that for me is really cool because radio music isn't my favourite. The national anthem on this record is one of my favourite bass lines. I think it's one of the best bass lines ever written. The production by Nigel Godrich, and of course Idiotech is one of my favourite electronic tracks. And it's I think it's timeless. It's a timeless record, and I'd never get bored of listening to it. Also, the opening track, "Everything in Its Right Place," is that was like a game changer for me when I heard that the first time. It was very I found it very emotional, and but it was a very inspiring record for me. It was my elder brother Joe. He introduced me to Radiohead, and he gave me this album actually. And it wasn't actually the first thing that I heard of Radiohead. The first taste I had for the band was when I listened to "Hail to the Thief." That was kind of like my introduction to it. Then when I heard this, I was like, wow, this is very special. And the cool thing about this record is the album they released after, which was Amnesiac. It was all the tracks that were left off from this album, and that's a bit more of like an obscure version of this. I like that one a lot as well. But yeah, I think this album was their defining moment as a band. I didn't really connect so much to King of the Limbs. I don't know why that was in particular. I don't think I gave it enough time. But In Rainbows was a great album as well. But still doesn't have the I think everything on this album will always be, every track on the album will be like a classic, whereas the tracks on In Rainbows are kind of a bit more experimental, more for the deeper listener. I think Radiohead in general shaped me as a musician. I think it led me to more darker, more interesting shades of music, and it showed me that music can be interesting and not just the kind of stuff that you're spoon-fed when you listen to the radio. I can't remember how old I was, but I remember where I was, in my bedroom with my old PC computer and my tiny little shitty speakers, and that's when I heard it the first time. And then I started putting it in the car and listening to it. I think listening to music is best heard in a car, because you have the whole, you have the landscape you can look at, and it stops you from having to switch the tracks all the time. Yeah, music for autobahns.
Hi, I'm Dan. And I'm Todd. And we're the Wombats, and we've picked an album to talk about that's one of our favourites.
Most influential.
My beautiful assistant Todd here is going to now showcase what it looks like. There we go.
Where I was looking for something to save me when I was a teenager. I was about 15 years old, and I met this guy that I basically fell in love with, or thought I fell in love with. He was my sister's boyfriend's brother.